Senator Humphries.
Mr Deputy President, I move the Senate take note of the answers given today by Senator Wong in relation to grocery prices. Any Australians listening to or watching Question Time today here would have to have been rather worried. We had here the Minister for Climate Change asked a question: how much will grocery prices rise under her emissions trading scheme? And she gave an answer, a rather exceptional circumstance in this place, Mr Deputy President. The Minister actually gave an answer. She said the price rises would be in the order of 0.1%. And it was put to the Minister that this was at variance with the estimates made by others in the field, particularly here the Australian Food and Grocery Council, of a 5% rise in grocery prices. Indeed, some members of that organisation, some larger retailers, are estimating increases of up to 7% as a result of the emissions trading scheme in the price of groceries. Now, that is a very alarming difference. That's a difference of some 6,000 or more % between the estimate the Minister has given the chamber and the estimate given by those people who are actually selling the groceries or representing those who are selling the groceries to the overwhelming majority of Australians. So who are we to believe? The Minister says that her figures are based on modelling. Well, we haven't seen that modelling. We don't know what the modelling actually says. We only have the Minister's word that it accurately and appropriately designs a scheme which delivers a mere 0.1% in grocery prices. Those in the field say that their estimates are much, much greater. They point out that grocery prices make up about 20% of the average household budget each week, and that a hit of around what they call a price shock of around 5% for Australian-made food and groceries will be a significant impost on Australian families. And so it will, Mr Deputy President, a very significant impost. Because, as they point out, this is not just a hit to the bottom line of Australian families, it's also a very serious hit to Australian food producers, because that 5 or 7% increase, which the sellers of food in this country say is likely to occur, is a hit on those who, based on their estimates of their flow-throughs, it's based on the fact that that's going to be an impost on Australian producers of food and groceries, whereas those producing food and groceries which are imported into Australia will not have to face that kind of increase. So bananas produced in the Philippines or other products produced in Indonesia or Malaysia or Thailand will not be affected immediately by these increases, because those countries do not have the prospect of emissions trading schemes anytime soon. Those prices will not be affected by emissions trading schemes in those countries and therefore in Australia, but Australian-made goods and services will be, and that of course includes food. Now that indicates a very serious impact on the capacity of Australian agriculture to produce goods and services and to keep Australian produced goods and services within reasonable price ranges. The Prime Minister once said that he didn't want to be the Prime Minister of a country that didn't make anything. But with respect, Mr Deputy President, what his hasty, ill-conceived, badly thought-through emissions trading scheme has the potential to do is precisely that, to remove the incentive from Australians to produce their own food. Now, this is effectively, of course, a GST on food. And I remind those opposite that they campaigned against a GST on food. Well, but maybe so. But we didn't do so. We didn't do so in circumstances that were going to push up prices without compensation. And what compensation have you got in place? You've got a compensation for energy increases. You proposed an increase in a compensation scheme for those increases in energy costs for Australians, but not, at this point at least, a proposal for increases in compensation to cover the cost of food and groceries. The fact is that this emissions trading scheme has not been well thought through. The implications are inadequately identified and compensated for, and it's the result of the fact that this emissions trading scheme that this government has advanced is in fact a political exercise, not a policy exercise. And the inability of the government today, the minister in this place, to put any flesh on her bald assertions about price rises, on the fact that she's had no consultation with the industries concerned, behaves the government very badly and suggests we're going to be facing very serious increases in those costs in the future.